Hello and welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports, and today we have a Focus Izalco Pro, and we're going to do a little bit of bike profile mixed in with a little bit of post service and maybe a little rant from the Retro Grouch. All right, what we have is a Ultegra 12-speed setup with shifters, derailleurs, crankset, and cassette. And this gentleman has been a customer for many years, and he's like, hey, I'm having trouble with my Di2. I don't know what's going on. My front derailleur stopped working, but now my rear derailleur is working, but I can't get my front derailleur to work. I plugged in the charging cable, charged it overnight, still not working. What's going on? I said, okay, bring it in. Let's talk about it. So he brought it in, and I went to charge it as well. And of course, you know, there's little things that you just never really pay attention to until you have to, right? I think some of you might know what I'm talking about. So in this case, did you know, see if we can get this to focus. Did you know that one of the 4 prongs on your 12-speed Di2 charging cable is longer than the other 3? See that? I had never paid attention to that. I just plugged it in. Not to mention that unless I have my very good readers on, I can't tell the difference on those 4 prongs. But one of them is supposed to be longer. So my first phone call to Shimano was, hey, is this right? This charger has one of the 4 prongs longer than the other? And they said, yeah, that's fine. I said, okay, all right, so I don't have to order a charging cable. I said, so I'm guessing I probably need to do a firmware update because I know that this customer is not the type of customer to do that kind of stuff. So that's the first thing I did. And when I looked on there, every single component needed a firmware update. Each of the shifters, each of the derailleurs, and the battery. So the left and right shifter, the front and rear derailleurs, and the battery all needed to have a firmware update. And some had been out for a year and a half. So he had been dodging the bullet for many months. He's got a tri-bike as well, so he doesn't ride this bike all the time, so it doesn't need to be charged all the time. And, you know, this is Di2, so it's not, you know, one of those SRAM battery things that's, you know, about 50 hours or 60 hours. So those get charged more frequently. Well, the challenge also, and this is a little bit of Retro Grouch, or maybe just a shop owner rant. I do not know why Shimano has not made their eTube software and diagnostics to work with the Mac. They only have it for PC. And we all know that Apple products are no longer some niche product just in the middle or at the very fringe and the very edge, right? Anyone who does any type of graphics, anytime you watch people podcasting, anytime you watch anything, they're using Macs, right? And I use a Mac at the shop, and I have an iPhone, and so integrated ecosystem. So as a shop guy, it's pretty annoying that I would also have to maintain a PC just to do any type of work with their software. So you can use your iPhone and the eTube app to do that. But, you know, then your phone is tied up while you're trying to do other things, right? But anyway, so that's a shop rant. Now let's get into the Retro Grouch rant, because I know a lot of you love the Retro Grouch. Why do you need firmware updates to ride your bike? Why do you need batteries to ride your bike. It doesn't make sense to me. I was out on a ride with Jesse this morning, beautiful sunny day, and this Camaro came by, a Chevrolet Camaro from the mid-60s, convertible. The top was down. The driver had one hand on the steering wheel, the left hand, and then the right hand on the seat back of the passenger seat, and he's just driving down a road in a 60-plus-year-old car. And he is enjoying the same beautiful sunny day that I am, probably more so because he's not pedaling up a hill. And he's in this, pretty big V8 engine, Chevy Camaro, top down, red Chevy Camaro, top down, and just enjoying it. And I drew the parallel to Jess, people are constantly talking about, why don't you profile bikes with, with the latest and greatest carbon and the latest and greatest disc brakes, and they're better than rim brakes, and Di2 and SRAM Red access. And I'm like, because I don't need that stuff to enjoy riding my bike. I don't need to worry about batteries. I just hop on my bike, pedal away. I don't have to worry about firmware updates because I just hop on my bike and pedal away. I don't have to worry about compatibility years from now where, this derailleur doesn't match up with that derailleur, but you need the battery and you need a firmware update. Oh, no, that doesn't work. Oh, you need a new battery. That's just nonsense to me. All right, so that's the Retro Grouch ranting. And it's important for people to understand that even though I'm riding a steel bike with mechanical shifters and rim brakes, I still end up at the very front of any brevet or any of the events that I do, which is my peer group. I am not a pro cyclist. I'm not even a categorized cyclist. I probably would have to race Cat 5 if I showed up at some, official race. But I do ultra events. I do long distance events. And I'm usually at the pointy end of that, if not first. So I don't need any of that stuff to be a faster cyclist than the rest of my peer group. I'm 60 years old, literally. This is April. I'm going to be 60 in September. You don't need to complicate your life. Make your life simple. Ride simple bikes, easy to maintain, easy to adjust, easy to repair when you're out in the middle of somewhere. This gentleman could not charge his Di2 because the firmware wasn't updated. That's just ridiculous to me. I just don't understand. And most of you don't know my history. 20 plus years ago, I was an early adopter to all of that high tech. I literally had it all. 13-pound bikes. I had all the latest carbon fiber wheels. I had deep sections. I had everything. Power meters back in 2003, 2002, 2003 sometime. I was an early adopter to Di2 back in 2009 for the 10-speed Durace, and then I had 11-speed Durace. But I got rid of all that stuff because it doesn't help you. Doesn't do anything. It doesn't help your speed. It doesn't make you any faster. It doesn't help you enjoy cycling any better than not having it. So it's just nonsense. So that's the Retro Grouch going off. This drivetrain is dirty. I concede that. But you can look at his saddle and you can look at the rest of the bike and you can say to yourself, okay, yeah, he doesn't want to pay George to clean the bike. Right? We have a four-season in the front. We have some Kenda, something in the back. Criterium, I think that's called. I can't see. The labels don't match. This is a gentleman who just rides his bike all of that OCD stuff is not important to him. And this carefree attitude is what a lot of you need to adopt. By the way, this is another one of those comments where people are like, oh my God, look at the rust on those bolts. So the fuck what? Who cares? Is the bike rolling? Yes. Does the bike shift and brake? Yes. Who cares about that? So I think that's it for the Retro Grouch. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in. You're going to hear the straight skinny from me on this channel. I think a lot of you like my frankness. It's one of the things I see in the emails. Hey, I've been watching your channel for a few years and I love how you are a straight shooter. Well, it's the truth. And if you come into the shop, I'm a straight shooter there as well. Okay, well, that is all for today. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you up the road.